Hello everyone and welcome back to Tennis Time. Since the 2020 tennis season is long gone, not by long forgotten, but it's long gone, we are looking ahead to 2021 tennis season, which we hope very much that it will be a lot more packed season than the last one. We had, as probably most of you know, around about 6 months cut off from the tennis season. Some tournaments were not held as planned or were postponed or were totally cancelled. So it was quite of a debacle last year. We had nonetheless the pleasure to watch 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. Wimbledon was the only one cancelled. The French Open could not be held during the summertime, but it was held in early October. So that made it to be the last Grand Slam of 2020. Now, looking ahead to 2021, in the first week, or let's rather say in the second week of January, we had 2 tournaments already, one in Delray Beach and the other one in Turkey. And now everybody is preparing for the Australian Open, or almost anybody. It was an interesting start of the tournament, to say the least, given the fact that normally we have in the second or third week of January that we start the Open. By now it should be already finished, but it's going to start early next Monday. So Australia has a special situation in the sense that they're paying very much attention to who is getting into their country. They're taking the COVID tests very, very seriously. They have a super low number of positive tests throughout the country, and tennis here or there, they don't really care. They're just trying to make sure that the disease doesn't come again into the country. It's not going to be spread around, players are healthy, and then tennis can go on. So this is basically the reason why we have something like a 3-week delay at the beginning of the Australian Open. The unfortunate situation some players were in, that some players or some people traveling with their charters, their special charters, which were flown into Australia, were tested positive. So that means a large number of players had to quarantine for over 2 weeks. For some of them, that meant that they could not go out, they could not practice, they could not go to the gym, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of discussion going on about the fact whether the players who had to quarantine, will they be disadvantaged, and if so, how great that disadvantage will be. Well, I think we are going to be able to track that in the first week, if we are going to have special upsets, but that's something definitely to look out for. It will be interesting, I think. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is tell you how I see the draw, who I think is going to go through, at least until the quarterfinal stages, which are, in my opinion, the most interesting matches to watch. And I'm also going to do the prediction game I've done for the French Open, the last Grand Slam of 2020 as well. So everybody who watches through the end is very much welcome to participate. Below in the description you will see my predictions for the French Open quarterfinals, and you're also going to see the rules. So I'm going to post it all into the description, and please feel free to participate. I'm really very much looking forward to see your opinion or your take on who is going to reach the quarters in the first stage of the Australian Open. Alright, so let's dig in and let's look into it. So as you can see, the first quarter of the top half of the draw, featuring Novak Djokovic being the number 1 seed. So these are the first 32 players. The draw is made. So basically we have Novak Djokovic and Sasha Zverev going through to the quarterfinals and play each other potentially. The next part in the draw is at the top, number 3 seed team and here we have Schwarzman, so this is a potential clash in the quarters. Don't worry, I'm going to come back and take each quarter a little bit more apart, but now just as an overview, let's take a look at every player and every participant. So the biggest seeds here, Rublev at number 7 and Medvedev at number 4. And the last quarter of the draw, we have Tsitsipas at number 5 and we have Nadal at number 2. So obviously, the biggest name absent at the Australian Open is Roger Federer. We know the stories. He had 2 knee injuries, or 2 knee surgeries rather, during the course of the 2020 season. He wasn't sure if he would be ready for the 2021 Aussie Open. First he said he would be, then he sort of changed his mind. Also the fact that he would have to quarantine with his wife and the 4 children in a hotel room for 2 weeks, that wasn't probably also a thing that did not really attract him to do it. But anyway, 2 of the big 3 are here. Djokovic is number 1 seed, Nadal is number 2 seed. Both players have previously won the Australian Open, obviously. Nadal has played 5 finals, Djokovic has played 8 finals. The big difference is that Djokovic has won each of his finals and Nadal has won only 1. Back in 2009 against Federer, he lost the other 4 finals. He's played 2 against Djokovic, 1 against Federer and 1 against Wawrinka, and he also got injured throughout the 2014 final. Nonetheless, I mean, in the last few years, when the top 3, the big 3, were going into Grand Slams, let's say throughout their entire careers, but also starting in 2017 when Nadal and Federer had their comebacks, and then later Djokovic in 2018 at Wimbledon, he won the tournament. He's really shown he's back. So since then, we always had the impression, or at least I had the impression, and most knowledgeable people about tennis had the impression, that when you look at a Grand Slam, the biggest favorites are Djokovic, Nadal and Federer to win. I sort of still have that feeling, but there is a big but. I have the impression that the challengers have grown stronger than ever. So if I look at the draw now and I see Zverev, okay, maybe Zverev is not the strongest name, but he's at the top half of the draw and he's probably going to play Djokovic in the quarters. But we have Zverev, we have Thiem in the top half. So Thiem and Zverev both are really dangerous and could upset Djokovic. And at the other side of the draw, we have Rublev, who's been really strong last year. He's won the most tournaments throughout the entirety of 2020. He's won 5 tournaments, or admittedly, none of them were at the above ATP 500 level. Nonetheless, super impressive run. We also have Medvedev, who's won the ATP World Tour Finals at the end of last year, and now throughout the ATP Cup, he's also playing. He has been playing really well, and they're in the final of the ATP Cup. And then we have also Stefanos Tsitsipas, who has had a pretty good season, let's say, although his US Open and Australian Open appearances were not the best, but he's saved that with the French Open. He's made the semis and he's played a fantastic 5-set match against Djokovic. So we have Rublev, Medvedev, Tsitsipas at the bottom half of the draw, breathing down at Nadal's neck, and at the top half of the draw we have Thiem and we have Zverev, who could potentially upset Djokovic. So the competition is getting really a lot stronger than it used to. Let's also have a look at the most interesting matches to watch. So I think in the first round I've picked 3 matches which you really should look out for. The one is the Shapovalov match against Jannik Sinner. Shapovalov is the number 11 seed now, and Sinner is really the up-and-coming young gun who potentially could go far. I think this is going to be a very, very tough first round for both players, because either one who would win here could, not easily, but I think they have really good chances to get through to the fourth round, and they probably would play Diego Schwartzman. And we all know Schwartzman is a fantastic tennis player. He covers the court really well. He catches a lot of balls. He can produce defensive, offensive tennis, but his serve is just too weak. And it seems that this edition of the Aussie Open, the court play is somewhat faster than it did last year, so that would definitely be an advantage for Shapovalov or for Sinner if they would play Schwartzman in the fourth round, and that would put one of these guys into the quarterfinals. So really a lot of things will be decided, I think, in that first round encounter. Another good match to watch, I think, that's really Djokovic against Shardy in the first round. Shardy, okay, admittedly, he's not. I don't consider him a threat to Djokovic, but I think he's been in good form in the warm-up tournament now ahead of the Australian Open. He's playing some good tennis, so he has some match practice, and I think he will be a good test for Djokovic, and I anticipate that to be an entertaining encounter. Another match I think is going to be interesting in the first round. It's going to be Matteo Beretini against Kevin Anderson. So Kevin Anderson has had some injuries. He's come back at the tail end of last year. He's shown some good tennis. I think he's really poised to do well. And Berettini, if you've been following the ATP Cup, he's led basically the Italian team into the final of the ATP Cup, which is going to be played on Sunday. So after this video is going to be released, obviously I don't know the result yet, but I think Berettini has shown a fantastic form, and I think he even looks a little bit thinner than he used to. So I think on this surface, on this quickness of the court will help him, and he definitely could also reach the fourth round easily if he goes through Kevin Anderson in the first round. So that would make him meet Tsitsipas in the fourth round, and that would be also a very, very interesting encounter. And whoever would win the Tsitsipas Berettini encounter in the fourth round would potentially play Nadal in the quarterfinals. So that's also quite interesting. So, as I said, first round popcorn matches to watch out for: Shapovalov, Sinner, Shardy, Djokovic, and Berettini against Kevin Anderson. I haven't seen something super spectacular in the second round, but in the third, if Kyrgios is healthy, there's a little bit uncertainty about that, because in his match against Coric, the knee didn't seem right. But if he gets back, gets his shape back, and is going to be fit, then he could meet potentially Thiem in the third round. So that would be an interesting encounter. In the third round, if we have Sinner or Shapovalov, the winner of that first round match would meet FAA, Felix Auger-Aliassime. I think that would be a really good match. In the fourth round, the match I mentioned before, potentially between Berettini and Tsitsipas, that would be also interesting. Nadal could play Fognini in the fourth round. Fognini also being part of the ATP Cup Italian squad in the finals, so he's in good shape, good form, and we know that Nadal doesn't particularly like to play him, so that could be interesting. If we look ahead at the quarterfinals, I think Rublev-Medvedev quarterfinal would be a fantastic one. That would be a repeat of last year's US Open quarterfinal, and the match from that first set, that was amazing tennis. I mean, both players were really hitting so hard. Rublev had set points actually in that first set in the tiebreak, but lost them. Medvedev won the first set, and then he went on and won the match in straight sets. I think Rublev is more experienced now, and even if he would lose that first set, then he potentially still could come back and make it more interesting. I think Medvedev is still the favorite, but I don't think it's going to be a straight set win for either player. The Nadal Tsitsipas quarterfinal would obviously be a super interesting one to watch, and Djokovic Zverev would also be, I think, very very good to watch, since Zverev seems to be in a good shape, good form. He's playing well. He's played well against Djokovic in the ATP Cup. He's lost in a tight three-setter match played over 2 hours and 40 minutes. So we would be in for a cracker if we would get that quarterfinal. In the semis, we have a potential repeat of last year's final between Djokovic and Thiem. And at the top half of the draw, we could see a Nadal-Medvedev encounter. That would be a repeat of the 2019 US Open final, or one of the encounters from last year's World Tour Finals, where Nadal was one set up. He was 5-4 up. He was serving for the match, and he lost it, the semis against Medvedev. So that was the first time Medvedev has beaten Nadal. I think if he reaches this year's semis at the Aussie Open, I wouldn't put it past him to beat even Nadal, honestly. So Djokovic Thiem semi, Nadal Medvedev semi. Who knows? Maybe we will have a Medvedev Thiem final. But I'm getting ahead of myself, I think. But nonetheless, I think these are the best potential lineups we could get. Would be really fantastic to see these quarters and these semis. Yeah, so let's go and now have a look at my predictions basically for the quarterfinals. So I think at the top half of the draw, I would pick Djokovic against Zverev to go through. Then the second section would be Thiem, and then we have that crucial first round match between Sinner and Shapovalov. I think whoever wins that is going to go through. I'm picking Sinner. This time I'm going bold. In the third quarter, I think this is the quarter I'm most sure about is Rublev against Medvedev, and then I'm going with the big guys, with the big guns, Nadal and Tsitsipas. I'm really hoping Nadal is healthy. He pulled out of the ATP Cup because he said he had a stiff lower back. I hope that will not bother him too much. Okay, so this is my pick for the men's draw, people who will reach the quarterfinals. Regarding the women's draw, I think Barty and Pliskova, they are the most favored, in my view at least, to go through to the quarters. Then I'm taking Kanin and Azarenka. Both are former Australian Open champions. Kanin is the defending champion, Azarenka winning in 2011 and 2012. Kvitova, Osaka. Osaka also former Australian Open champion from 2 years ago, and Kvitova is actually the one who she's beaten in that final in 3 sets. And then I'm taking Zabalenka against Halep. Zabalenka could potentially meet Serena Williams in the 4th round. I was really thinking for a long time through on this encounter who I'm thinking would be the favorite. Is it Zabalenka? Is it Williams? But I don't know. I'm not really convinced about Serena Williams. It's just the fact that she has not been winning a lot of big matches in the last few years. I don't think the age is helping, and I think she's slowing a little bit down. She might prove me wrong, but I'm sticking to Zabalenka. And then obviously number 2 seed, also former finalist in 2018 at the Australian Open, I'm picking Halep. So I would be really interested about your picks. Who do you think is going to make it through to the quarterfinals on the women's side, on the men's side? Also feel free to check out the video where I'm explaining the rules on this game. And yeah, as I said, I'm really hoping you will participate. In order not to miss out on any future content, please consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, so you will get all the information when I'm posting a new video. I'm going to try to be really active throughout the Australian Open and bring you all my analysis, picks, predictions for the future matches to come. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned, enjoy the tennis, and see you next time.